not find us on your TV. Because in case you did not know, we're being brought to you by
OTR.
Brought to you by
27.085 megahertz.
Brought to you by RADI.
The Old Tube Radio Network.
Don't you love RADIO? We do here on Saturday evenings, the Old Tube Radio Network. Real radio's glowing in the dark. Specifically, your old tube radio, your 11-meter Class D or better radio from 1958 to 1978. This venue called the Old Tube Radio Network on the air since around 1985 or so, when a group of people got together and said, why don't we talk more and on our tube radios, and came down to Channel 11, where most of us had crystals, and the rest is history. If you're a first-time listener, you will no doubt experience the sound of tube radios, which sound pretty good if you're listening in, and they sound awesome if you're an operator. Nice to drive them, and also, I think more importantly, the demeanor of 11-meter radio service back in the day when these radios were brand new. So stay tuned for that. My name is Dennis, your net control operator for the evening. One of many of the past 35 years. Let me see if I get the camera. There it is. Still have some light. We're not quite in the gray line. I've got the summer outfit on, reminiscing. Someone was talking about the OTR picnics that we had, I guess, probably over 30 years ago now, the old tube radio toss. And this would have been a good outfit for that. And plus, it has a pocket, so I can get the pocket protector in there tonight. And I was trying to see, who is our... I thought I had a pen here to talk about. I will find it somewhere. There is a possible pen that goes with this. But anyway, let's continue on. You are listening to oldtuberadio.net. If you're on the audio stream, perhaps on the YouTube video stream, which I think is up and running. And more importantly, you might be standing by on 27085, Channel 11 here in the Central Valley of California with your tube radio. And we will be getting to you after the roll call. So let's start. I'll keep the video up. So if you watch the video back, you'll be able to give yourself a radio report and check in as we go through the roll call. First off, our current 00. This is week 5 in the roster. So it says August 1st, 2020. That's where we are at. If you're playing the home game, it looks kind of like that. Kind of an analog check-in sheet. 00 is 41. I will check. I got to refresh about 3 or 4 screens to make sure I see everybody who is listening in. So we will make sure we do that correctly. SWL number 1, always listening in and lending a helping hand wherever possible from the cosmic check-ins. SWL number 2, OBP is out there. You know, I bet you have a pocket protector, Kevin. I think he's dissing my pocket protector, and I know he has a, especially in his line of work. He's certainly had a couple of those. Also saying that our sunspot numbers for cycle 25 are up. Kind of high for, well, it's low for 25, but it's high for the way it's been. So expect your radio to be doing strange things. Maybe tonight, I don't know. Thanks for checking in, Kevin. Things are looking good. SWL number 3. SWL 4. SWL 5. I'll put a check in for Ida, Mama Rose, one of the net controllers from long ago. Saw her earlier in the week. She's looking good and said hello to everybody. SWL 6. SWL 7.
SWL 7, checking in.
Checking in and checked in, sounding good on the AM mode. I need to find that pen. This one that is not from the pocket protector is failing me. Or maybe there's one in there. Yeah, there is one in there. Okay, we'll find out. We'll find out when the tube starts sponsoring us tonight from the Pocket Protector. Then we jump all the way up to SWL 13. Waiting for my comments to refresh. Hey, they actually refreshed, so I might actually see if you check in. SWL 14. SWL 15. I'll keep an eye out for Fred, Miss Deseret, one of the control stations as well, who is from Easton. Sometimes will chime in on the Facebook side. SWL 16. SWL 17.
17 checking. Good evening, everybody.
Yeah, good evening. Eric, sounding good. I think Eric you might have sat in the control seat a couple of times. Putting a big signal here in the Midtown Fresno. We're good to have you aboard. Over.
Thank you very much.
SWL 18. All right, why does it sound like 1, 2? All right, sound like the microphone is not connected, but I think it is. SWL 19. Hey, in SWL 19, the station from Derby, New York, out there in 14047 area code, SWL 19, always first in line. Remember back in the days when Star Wars was out and your favorite concert, and you'd be the first one in line. That is SWL 19 here for the Old Tube Radio Network. Let's go over to SWL 20.
Number 20 here. Yeah. Thank you, can hear me. Check in 2954. Talk to me in for next week in case I don't get back from work.
Okay. We'll have to see if we can find somebody to replace you. That way we know we will have you here each week. You're sounding good. Whatever you're doing is fine. Don't touch a thing, and we will get the other affiliated stations at the appropriate time. And, of course, you can find us in any location that's cool at oldtuberadio.net on your Universal Media Net web device of choice. Thanks for checking in.
All righty. We'll be back after a while. Bye.
All right. Range boost sounding good. SWL 21, I'll put a check in. I know JT is out there. What is going on? He was on Old Radio Night tonight, and I made a point to make sure that I checked all the right boxes and got in to listen. Said not a lot of skip. There's not a lot of skip. JT has a lot of local traffic. I think way more than we have here in the Central Valley. Some ground wave action. And 285 miles at 10 dB. You know what? Let me see. Well, I'm keyed down. There's a keyed up. Keyed up here. Now, see, I was trying to get Old Radio Night to come in. And it, as usual, I think it takes a long time for his show to process. So I don't have the audio to play back. But he was on the region. He started, what was the deal, JT? You started with the Regency. And you had the M100 reverse preamp, and then there was crackle and wacko things, and then you went to what looked like the E.O. Johnson. So you coined the word. I was going to play it back, and it won't play back. Not tube essence, but something that had to do with tube. Anyway, you sounded good, and as usual, you had the local channel hopping from the Wasama Swamps in South Carolina. Thanks for checking in and hosting the Old Radio Night. SWL 22. There it is. Career Classic and the ML100 reverse preamp. Regency Imperial and Johnson 223. All right, that was it. SWL 22 is Mark in Texas. Let me look at the big board here, see who is listening. The unknown SWL. Squamish, BC, the group is out there listening. San Francisco, Dallas, Georgia, Centerville, Virginia, Canby, Oregon, Somerville, South Carolina. Hello to Tulare, Woodland Park, Colorado. Hoping for the skip. Hendersonville, Tennessee, coming up to you. Derby, New York, with the station. That station knows the best seats in the house. That's where you show up early. All right, let's continue on with SWL 23. Mitch Are you out there 23? I don't see you on there. I got an email I didn't even know I had from which I need to respond to. SWL 24. SWL 25.
Hello, Dennis, 25, checking in, and I do have traffic. Back to you.
All right, we will get your check-in, not your chicken, but your check-in. You are sounding good, and go ahead with your traffic over.
Alrighty, well, the International Space Station will be making a nice pass tonight at 8:44 p.m. from the northwest to the east. And from what I've read, the SpaceX crew disembarked on their journey back to the Earth at around 4 o'clock this afternoon. So I don't know if you'll be able to see that or not, but the space station will be making a nice pass tonight. Anyway, that's about it, Dennis, and that's at 8:44 p.m. Back to you, Dennis.
And splashdown is like 11 a.m., 11:20, something like that tomorrow morning, 11 a.m.
Okay, somebody was mentioning that things were delayed from what they were supposed to be, but that is good. If I can get the information, I'll find out what the azimuth is. The azimuth is how high overhead you will be looking. So anything from like 75 degrees to 90 degrees is really, really good because it gets it out of the trees and out of the street lights. So hopefully it's a decent pass like that.
Oh yeah, Roger. Yeah, it'd be a nice pass. It should be visible for about 5 minutes.
Okay, sounds good at 8:44. I'll try to remember. People will help us remember as maybe we'll get a first-hand report from the space station. We used to do a packet from the space station. I used to X4000 and I would beacon up to the space station and then back down. So a contact Fresno to Fresno from the space station up down. Pretty cool on. It was 145, 035. I don't remember what the frequency was, but it was on 2 meters. Thanks, Jerry, for that. Sounding good, and we got you checked in.
Thank you, Dennis. And when I contacted the space station, they were on 70 centimeters on the 440 band. Anyway, back to you, Dennis.
All right, back to me in the studio. Thank you. Okay, we are on page 2 for SWL 27. I heard some 2-meter activity, but I don't think that was 27. Let's go to SWL 28, and I will listen in. I don't think the band is open, but we'll check in Chrissy, who is listening in with the green slippers. This shirt probably isn't transmitting the colors right. It's more of a teal. It may be more blue, but I could probably adjust the video. In fact, I need to adjust the video so that it looks a little bit more green. So from the green slippers to the almost green... oh, no, my pen has stopped working. Okay, what's the deal here? There's no... All right, let's try another one. There's no ink. All right, 28 is checked in.
Now we got to make sure you got pants on.
Oh, I have pants on. I'll have to stand up to prove it, I guess. We've got a SWL 29 proxy check-in from Mr. Loner. And likewise from Idaho, in the land of RFI, also checking in. Dwayne, with no conditions. Yeah, it's quiet, but the sun, as you can see in the back, the sun is going down. So things could change at any moment. And Chrissy and Dwayne are real experts at just jumping in at the right time, like they are driving down the local highway here to check in. So we'll see if we can get some conditions tonight. Over to SWL 31. And there it is. There's Teresa. Good evening from Hendersonville, Tennessee. 31 is checked in. This is the pen. I don't understand why Why, it worked one moment, and then there's no... All right, twist the thing, and it barely comes out. There we go. Excellent score for Hendersonville. I hope everything is okay. What's the weather? Let's see. Are you on the... Yes, you are. So if I click this, and the slow internet comes up, in zip code 37075, it's cloudy, 72 degrees, it's 10:15. Not bad, 72. For August 1st, doesn't give the humidity. That could be interesting. How about SWL 32? SWL 33, myself, Bozo Control, the Jingle Singers, and all those ships at sea. Over to SWL 34. SWL 35. If I go to the big page, I haven't refreshed in a while, but I did see Bill checking in from Cheyenne, Wyoming. Maybe that's it. Bill, it's all your fault. When Red Monkey was not the motivating force here in the Central Valley, maybe that took away all our local traffic. Listening to JT, they have a lot of local stations checking in. We still have a lot of locals, but gee, not like we used to. We had that, definitely had that draw from Red Monkey Communications. Kept everybody here hopping in the Central Valley. Hope you're doing well, Mr. Bill. We miss you here. Over to SWL 36. SWL 37?
Oh, 36.
How about 37? Over.
How about 36?
I can check in 36, but I didn't hear him.
That's me.
You are 37. Over.
Oh, never mind.
But I can check in 37.
Yes, 37 checking in. All right, my brain's going crazy.
Boy.
This is your brain going crazy frequency. You are dialed into the right spot.
And how many years have I been doing this? Since what, 1980 what?
It's been a long time, so that's possible. I sometimes I forget that it's Saturday night. It's like, oh yeah, it's that OTR thing going on.
Thank you, Dennis.
All right, thanks for checking in. Oh, hello to our new stations checking in from Santa Ana. I think it was in there last week. Right off the 5 and the 57. Is that what's on there? Hello, Auberry, and hello to Bothell. I used to talk to an AM guy, and I don't remember the call. I bet he's in my falling apart logbook from about 35 years ago. There was a really big AM station out of Bothell, Washington. Just really rip-roaring in here all the time during the day on 40 meters, and I don't remember if I could hear. That's kind of a long haul for 10 meters, probably on 20 meters. SWL 38. SWL 39. And OBP, ISS pass, Saturday, August 1st, 8 p.m., 55 minutes, 22 above north. So what's the elevation on that? It's only 22 degrees. If it's only 22 degrees, that is not a good pass at all, really. That's down in the trees. I was hoping it'd be higher than that. How about SWL 40?
Okay. I think this is keyed up. SWL 40. Frantically trying to chew my food.
Yeah, don't choke.
And swallow before I have to key up and talk. Please check in 47 from the crossband, and then 135 somewhere out there, and then 40.
All right. Listening to you almost choke there made me want to get some water. So remember what you were told. Chew your food, Mr. Larry, and I will get all the proxy check-ins at the right time, so no problem. SWL 41 are also our 00. I was looking to see if He was on the digital frequency. Don't see him yet. Hello, Gary, who is out in Sacramento, I believe. Hoping to get his Robin T123B and the Chris 23 Plus back from Harvey in the next week or two. He's going to put the Robin into his 1969 Aristocrat travel trailer. All right, we will have a good show. That'll be classic. Now you have to have like a 1970 Rambler American station wagon to pull it. Then it'll be good. Make sure you put a 102-inch whip. That should go good. Hello, thanks, Gary. Over to the mighty out in their foreland, Sierra Romeo. Hello, Keith. Good evening, Dennis, and everyone in Radioland. TB40 Ford. Now, there's a car that would look good pulling the trailer. In the mid-'70s, we had a pocket warmer which gave us extra channels on the Simba. I have a Simba. I have a Pierce Simpson Simba. I forgot. It's up on the shelf. I think I actually have the Pierce Simpson microphone to go with it. I'll have to see. Maybe I can run that some night. I'll have to see. The main thing is it's got to have audio out. Charlie Hustle is in. Charlie Hustle 55 from Baltimore, staying up late with us tonight. And a host of others. Oh, there's Jim. Jimmy's Fielder's in. Administer in the groups like Vintage CB. Actually, who are the groups that listen in? I wrote them down. Antique CB Radio pre-1977, CB Radio Lounge, a CB Radio Connection, High Fidelity CB Radio, 11-meter CB Junkies, Vintage CB Radio. There's others. Fans of Demco CB Radio, related equipment, Vintage Tube CB Radio, the Worldwide Sidebanders, Rich Anderson and all the gang over at CB Radio News. And the other one, I have to close the Facebook page because it blows stuff up when I'm on. Otherwise, I could sound more intelligent when I'm looking for this stuff. Anyway, hello, Jimmy. Or CB Radio Central. We're doing the roll call. Tube radios will be coming up here in a minute. SWL 42. We've got a proxy check-in for Mr. KW. Let's try SWL 43. SWL 44. Ray is out there. He's listening in. I heard him, was it Friday night on the sideband net? I wonder if the AM is working over. Yeah, the AM is working. We must have a lot of heat ducting or something going on. The stations that are far out from me sound kind of out of phase and fluttery, but I hear you. I was trying to run some audio tonight, but I don't know. It looks like it's down in the mud again. Trying to get my audio up there so that people can hear me. I got you checked in, Ray. Over. Trying to sound good anyway. What am I plugged into? All right, the scope is plugged into the right source. All right, I was just seeing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, I don't want to do that. Let's just leave it alone. 44 is in. How about SWL 45?
45, if you can hear me down there, Dennis.
Yeah, I hear you good. The radio's sounding nice. Over.
Oh, good. Okay. It'll work for the night, thanks.
All right, be interesting to hear what that is. Got some nice, punchy audio. Over to SWL 46. SWL 47, I have a note that that was the voice, or one of the voices I heard on the crossband, so maybe Mike is out on the radio patio doing the barbecue thing and tried the 2-meter site. If you were listening in somehow, Mike, you are checked in.
Nope, we're in the radio lounge.
Oh, you are in the radio lounge. All right, I hear you on the AM side, fine and dandy. Over.
Oh, yeah, thanks. No, on the other band, I was just trying to get someone to repeat what time the ISS was going to be passing overhead, and I think it was the 8:44.
8:44 is what I have written down. Over.
Okay, great. Well, I'm going to be outside at that point in time, but I'm not there right now. And as always, greetings from the Radio Lounge, SWL 47. where I'm assuming that this vertical antenna is working. Perhaps later on I will tell you why squirrels are not my most favorite creature, especially in regards to horizontal dipole antennas. They're not my friends anymore.
Over at the QTH of SWL1, he used to have a large pile of, we call it SCC, Squirrel Chew Coax. So I wonder if the story has something to do like that. But it sounds like you may have remedied the situation, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, remedied, and an extra band is now available, and I can't kill anything larger than an ant or maybe a June bug, but if I was a squirrel, I'd feel mighty nervous if I lived over here in northwest Fresno. Anyways, on that, thanks, sir. Back to you.
All right, thanks for checking in. Adjusting my mic flag. If I was smart, if I was watching the video, I should put an OTR thing. That's what Bob Heil put that thing on there for. All right, back to what you were doing there, and let's try SWL 48. SWL 49.
Hello, Dennis. 49er checking in here. Country Mom is also in the background waving her hand towards you. Hope everyone is doing well. Got a jammer out there tonight, or something strange going on. I don't know if anybody else is hearing that, but kind of having a hard time hearing you, but hopefully we're getting through that mess and able to make a check-in here. So, again, I hope you're having a good night. Thanks for the check-in, Dennis.
Okay, thanks for checking in. Well, with the way this radio station goes, I wouldn't put it past it to be something failing on my end, but you are sounding good. Smitty and Sweet Country Mama on the radio tonight, SWL 49. Got you checked in. SWL 50.
Oh, yeah, he's here.
He is there, like a big cat, just waiting to pounce on the unsuspecting net controller when he comes up to that 5-0. As always, you are putting in a great signal here in the Midtown Fresno. Thanks for checking in. And all of a sudden, the internet's running slow. SWL 51, Dave Ottensanger, who was mentioning that he was having the noise floor thing going on tonight. So if you're listening, Dave, I will get you checked in. But if you want to try and make a transmission through the noise floor, go right ahead. Then over to SWL 52. SWL 53.
Hello, Dennis. 53 checking in.
53 is checking in. Mr. Biller. Hello, Bob. Thank you for listening to the Old Tube Radio Network tonight.
Thank you, sir.
Over to page 4, or page 3, which I have here somewhere. There it is. By page 4. SWL 54. Larry checked in. Mr. Boardjammer up to SWL 55.
55 checking in.
SWL 55. And was I correct? Did I hear you Friday night checking in with Jeremy?
Yeah.
Yeah, sounded good. Sounded good on the sideband. Just like you do on AM. I got you checked in.
Oh, thank you very much. I didn't think it worked on sideband that well.
No, it sounded good. It's probably archived somewhere where you can hear the replay. Thanks for checking in.
Thank you.
Let's see. Let's go down the hill to SWL 56.
Good evening, Dennis and the net. 56, just for kicks.
Hello, Phil. We've got you checked in. I got my kicks this morning. I tried to get up super early to mow all the yards, and the Fresno street collection is coming up, and putting stuff out in the street, chopping things up. And I tell you, I was wiped out by 11:30, and it still wasn't hot. You'd think by August I'd have this figured out. I'd have this heat thing figured out. Thanks for checking in. over to SWL 57. Oh, right there. I just have to look. And he's right in my little window. This is what we call all request. This is all request dedication old tube radio, where Brown Dog Audio, SWL 57 is wishing his XYL a big happy anniversary. Let's see. Can I do it here? I'm going to mess something up. It's the old tube radio happy anniversary. All right. 1222. Messing it up. All right, that's enough. Wolfman Jack was a lot better at doing those dedications than I am. All right, 57, you are checked in. SWL 58.
SWL 58 in QRP contest mode, so we hope we're making the trip over.
Yeah, my RF noise levels at S6, you are at 7 plus a little bit, so your QRP skills are doing quite nicely. Got you checked in. And Friday Night Net sounded good. Jeremy is the host of the Ditch Banks Sideband Net. You can Google that and find some SDR video. I think even if the one that happened, let me see, even the one that happened Saturday, or Friday, let me see if I got audio for that. Even if the one that happened, oh, I got my audio. Let me get rid of my audio. Even the one that happened, too much audio. Hold on.
We're Jeremy anyway. Everybody have a great weekend.
Hey, that's Jerry.
No traffic. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Jerry. We got a proxy for 20 as well?
Roger.
All right, thanks, Jerry, for being there. And again, I apologize. I have no excuses. You have made it here, I think, every week after your new radio, and I have missed multiple nets.
There it is. No need to apologize. He does a good job. This is the Ditch Banks Sideband Net.
If we can't catch both of them here.
Friday at 8 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time on 36 lower, 27365.
148. Let me head back up there to Steve.
And the plus with this is that you will get to watch the SDR radio play back not only your audio, but your signal as well. So pretty cool on the Ditch Banks Sideband Net. Thanks, Jeremy, for doing that.
And thank you, Dennis, for OTR. We appreciate it. Hope everybody has a great weekend.
Yeah, these trying to make these things radioactive and video active and RF active takes a little. It's like what's it? Chewing gum and walking at the same time. Sometimes it doesn't happen all that well. SWL 59. SWL 60.
Thanks, Dennis. Well, and hello to the group out there. Doggone it, my Galaxy base is going to be for a tune-up finally after 25 years. And doggone it, we're going to be on the 148 for a while. So SWL 60 checking in evening time to the fellas.
Sounds good. If that's a 148, it's got great audio. So don't worry about driving that one around the block a couple of times, and hopefully when the other one gets back, it'll be spiffy and neato and all those other adjectives. Thanks for listening in.
Thank you, Dennis.
Let's try Dino, SWL 61.
61, check it in, Dennis.
All right, putting in a good signal here through all the murk and mire in the Midtown. Thank you, Dane. SWL 62. SWL 63. That's Bubba out of New York. Bubba Bloatin. That's what I have down. I have no idea. Still listening in or not? How about SWL 64? SWL 65?
65, checking in.
All right, good clear audio, nice good signal. Eric got you checked in here on 27085 is where we are. If you're watching the video, this is the Old Tube Radio Network. And we are chatting with our shortwave listeners on Channel 11 here on Saturday evening. And in moments from now after the roll call, we'll be talking to the tube radio collectors that are warming up their awesome radios. Over to SWL 66. SWL 67. And that should be Bill out there in Canby is still listening in. And Bill, if you put something on the screen, I'm not seeing it, but I'll find it. But I know you're out there listening, and we've got you checked in. Bill used to be one of our local aficionados, and now, through the courtesy of the internet and RF Skip Zone, he is still listening in. Let's try SWL 68. SWL 69, Kenny is also one of our local stations that is now more than 150 miles away and out of the RF zone. I will check you in, Kenny, if you watched the video. I know I saw you come in last week and check in, so we're good with that. Over to SWL 70. All right, I'm not even halfway through, and I'm already losing my voice. I even wore the dust mask today, and I think I've still ingested way too much particulate matter. Over to SWL 71. If I go to the big screen and refresh, no, I don't have to refresh. He's right there. Stan, and if you want to see a good picture of Mr. Announcer, look at Stan's avatar. Is that the word? Upon his thing with the RCA 44 microphone on the stand. We had those at the college at Fresno State University when we were doing radio productions. So just like that. Cool ribbon microphones. Really hard to use on a CB radio. They have so much low frequency that you have to roll them through an EQ. Thanks for checking in, Stan. Over to SWL 72. Let me see. I thought he had a different number, but now that you mentioned it, and why isn't it on there? I wonder if it didn't get transferred over. Yeah, let's unless I find him somewhere else. Oh, yeah, it is, because he was on the same. So, yeah, let me put Eric. I think when I made the new list, I didn't transfer the name over, and he's out in Clovis, is that correct?
Roger, yeah, that's correct.
All right, I'll get Eric checked in. If he's listening in, I know I didn't hear him in there, but I imagine that he will be out there. So we'll get 72 checked in. Over.
Roger, yeah, because he says he was 17.
Yeah, Eric, 17 Eric is one of our very, very long-time listeners, the Carolina Kid. So that is that Eric. And then there's an Eric that is just up the road a piece on 65. That's Marshmallow. And so 72 is Eric number 3. You just can't have too many Erics.
Yeah, Roger. Yeah, I just want to clear some minutes here.
Okay, yeah, he is 72. That is correct. I think what happened is when I redid the list, I didn't transfer all my information over correctly. So thanks for the update on that. SWL 73. And Smarty Jones saying good evening from the East Coast, staying up late, as always, out there in the land of the Big Iron, land of what? K1JJ and WA1HLR, Timtron, and all the big stations out there. Let's go to SWL 74. And we'll get Miss Julie checked in. SWL 75. SWL 77.
Well, good evening, Dennis, and 73s to all the listeners.
77 on the tower of power out of the Tower District. Waving a hand and checking in.
Waving a hand, checking in, and sounding good doing it. 1017. Sounding very 10-8. 844. It's 841. So with those of you who are going to try and look for the IHSS, or I mean the that thing that flies over the sky. The IHS, the ISS. I had an H in there. That's something completely different. Grab your ladders and get on the rooftop safely, or wherever you go. It should be starting to come over here soon. It's dark enough. Well, you know what? It's still pretty light. I'm looking out the window. So it's probably, typically the intensity, if it's a good pass, is even brighter than Jupiter. So if you're seeing Jupiter, you're definitely going to see the space station when it flies over here in a couple of minutes. Next we have SWL-78, and I updated my comments, and of course, now they went away. But Richard was out there in Everett. Although maybe he's the Bothell, Washington station that's showing up on the item tonight. Waiting for the screen to refresh. I may have just ruined it. I should have left it alone, but I saw you there, Richard. We'll get you checked in. Over to SWL-79. SWL-80. Oh, I heard Philippine before the program here, but I could be not correct with that. Hello to the UK. Station showing in near London. Shows up as Cricklewood. Probably mispronouncing that. There's probably a good way to say that. Near Clayton Crown and Hampstead School. It's 4:51 a.m. Or close to it. Actually, it's that can't be right. How about 4:43? It's in the a.m. anyway. 57 degrees and clear. In an area of London, England, which spans the boundaries of 3 London boroughs. Barnet to the east, Brent to the west, and Camden to the southeast. So our listener, what kind of valve radios do they have out that way? Anybody have Regency Imperials or the E.F. Johnsons? Where you have the ancient, what would you call it? The ancient valve radio network out there in Cricklewood. We're in the roll call. Radios will be coming up here shortly. They're looking for SWL-81. And I had a note to check in Steve because he was moving things around and stuff like that. So, Steve, if you're listening or watching the replay here, I hope you are doing well. Over to SWL-82.
82, checking in.
82 is checking in. You must be on the crystal-controlled tuna can radio. It's sounding good.
All right, thanks, Dennis.
Out there to ditch banks. It's kind of hard to not sound good from the ditch banks. It's one of those locations. We have a place here called Meadow Lakes, which is up in the hills above Fresno, where all the radio and TV stations like to put their antennas. I think the ditch banks is sort of like a Meadow Lakes Junior. If you're anywhere near there, your radio is bound to sound good. Let's try SWL-84.
Tony, Chuck, hello. Sorry for interrupting the net there, Dennis. Back to you.
Hey, Tony, you're sounding good. What's going on? Over.
I just had to relay a message to Bones there. I hope he got it. I don't know if he heard me or not.
All right, try your message again. Over.
Yeah, I got it. Thank you there, Tony.
Yeah, you bet. Sorry for the interruption of the show. Back to you, Dennis. 145 standing by, waiting.
Okay, very good. And you got the... So you did good. You should be one of those net traffic handlers, Tony. You got your message through on the first try. 71 degrees in Everett, Washington. The screen just showed back up again. I don't know why it takes so long. Let's see. I think I got a note to check in 84 in the gang, which I will do. Cheerios, kid. Jerry, if you're listening in, hello to you and everybody. In Wrigley, SWL 85. And a proxy check-in for 86, 87, and 88, respectively. Paula, the Mountain Maid, Tandy Girl, and the Snowy Owl. Takes us over to SWL 89. Darren, I saw Darren on Facebook, so let me get Darren checked in. I have not heard him on the ham bands lately. I wonder where he's hanging out. SWL 90, I've got a proxy check-in for SWL 90. Let's try SWL 92 out of Madera. Chuck. I heard him on, he was checking in on Jeremy's net. Just barely heard him. I don't know if we're just not making the trip on AM anymore or what the deal is. SWL 93, checked in early. Louis, if you're listening. Bozo Control, yeah. Honking the proboscis for a 93. That's checking in. Taking it easy. Then we've got, I need to click that says you checked in. Before we go any further, let me do the 2-for-1 over on page 1 at the very top. SWL 00 is in. Road Dog 507 and also 41 from Hudson Valley, New York. All right. Road Dog 507. We got you, and we got you checked in.
Proxy, Louis.
Yeah, he came in. He came in live and direct, so no proxy necessary.
Good.
Yeah, I came in earlier. He was feeling like he didn't want to sit in front of the radio for too much, and I understand that. So if he might be out there listening from afar, we got him checked in. That takes us to SWL 98, Fresno Dave.
Checking in, Dennis.
Checking in and sounding good, doing it. Got you in there, Dave. Thanks.
All right, thank you.
SWL 103. And that's Jeff. He asked last week about the Cobra 29 LTD. And we're just going to mention to him that we got a lot of comments on other possible radios that would be good to pick up. I think he was looking for that, although the 29 LTD will work just fine. But if you're listening, Jeff, go to last week's video and scroll down the comments. You'll see some of our listeners were gracious enough to chime in on possible radios in lieu of the 29. Over to SWL 109. SWL 110. SWL 111. Robert was saying he had a noise level, he couldn't even hear 1017. Now, that is the Tower of Power. When I listen in on Friday nights, I don't know if he's on a different radio. Robert checks in on some awesome-sounding sideband radio that has a great signal, and he hears everybody, and everybody hears him, so I don't know what the difference is. Maybe it's just an AM noise level thing. If you're listening, Robert, you always sound good on Jeremy's net. But of course, I'm listening through his receiver. Or no, I can hear it on mine, but his playback also sounds good, so he knows what to do. Let's try SWL 113. SWL 114.
114, checking in.
And 114, SWL 114. Wayne, I've got you checked in. Thanks.
Thank you.
Then we jump up to SWL 1. I'm having trouble with the foot switch again. SWL 128. John Lee checking in from Fairfax, Virginia. Got you in loud and clear. Let's try SWL 131. SWL 133. Hey, I hear your audio. the wire antenna is pointed the right way, or else I'm just off the proper end of the, what is it, the Sturba curtain array that you've got up for 20 meters or whatever awesome antenna you have. Northwest Fresno Dave, sounding good here on the Old Tube Radio Network. Let's try SWL 135. I will proxy it. All right. I will proxy in. I want to make sure I thought my foot switch broke, but it's working. It's just me. It always comes down to it's me that's the problem. SWL 135, we got green arrow checked in. Over to an proxy check-in for SWL 137. And I wanted to mention the Bob and Steve show. They take good care of us here from Ohio, all the way from Ohio. I'm going to have to adjust my video. I think I have it set for the background, and the background is now dark. And hopefully when we start the tube radios, we will get some reports to see if anybody saw the space station beaconing over, which is happening right now. Happening as we speak. What was I doing? Oh, the Bob and Steve show. Bob and Steve got a shuffleboard and 2 dart boards. That darts, I don't know. Anything sharp over there is, that could be a problem. 8 stools for the game table, ready to go. Sounds good. At the bar tonight, honey roasted sweet potatoes with honey cinnamon dip. I remember, I remember talking to honey roasted sweet potatoes on Channel 17. But I never did have a QSO with honey cinnamon dip, and that's probably a good thing. Mustard and brown sugar baked pork tenderloin sandwiches. What a spread out there tonight. So if you are checking in, make sure you stop by the green room before you jump into the air chair. Come on down the OTR elevator and join us after the net. Oh, there's a see more. All right. Let's see more before I get in trouble. Oh, okay. And I like the shirt. Yeah, I went with the summer thing in honor of our Old Tube Radio picnic that we did once or twice, and I had a sponsor pen, and it is gone. So I will pick another one. All right, Tony, thanks for being patient. You know you're on page 4. From Course Gold, give us another transmission, 145 over.
Hello, audio. Good evening, everybody. This is Tony 145 in Course Gold checking in. Thank you, Dennis. Everybody be safe out there. 73.
73 and sounding good. The audio is good on the AM side. And listened to you on the sideband net, and you sounded good as well. So I think you've got everything dialed up and dialed in.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Dennis. Yeah, I finally figured out how to do this, dial this radio in for the Wednesday night. So now I'm good for Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Roger?
Yeah, all right. 3 days, and we'll have to have some more nets so you can have fun. All right, sounding good.
Okay, thank you. 73, everybody. 145, clear.
All right, and there is Jeff checking in, 103. Cheesy E. Jeff, if you dial up last week's video scroll, which you are actually in right now, somewhere about the time you asked your question about the Cobra 29, I think it was, there were some comments talking about that radio and some other items of interest, so that might be something you would be interested in looking in, but check that out. And it's sort of a delayed response to your question from last week. Okay, 103 is in. Let me mark that in. We have the radios coming right up. That's going to be happening right after the roll call, which is ending shortly. Let's try SWL 147, who I already checked in accidentally, but I will click the button again. I know Neil and Kakalaki is in. Happy August from 147, and Kakalaki had the radio on most of the day and very little chatter, local or long distance. That's what JT was saying. He had the local stuff, but not the long distance, even though we are doing some sunspots. I think there might have been some other activity that wasn't very good. Anyway, very quiet most of the week, looking at the tropical storm heading that way. I heard it was heading up through Florida, so stay safe and maybe just a little bit of rain. Good amount of rain. Speaking of rain, good amount of rain coming our way up there in Kakalaki and the Juliet Gulf, Quebec, and the Carolina Sandhills. Thanks, Neil. Let's head up to another Course Gold station, waiting patiently. Always waiting patiently on page 4. Hello, 195. Okay, I'm kind of that way too. If I have to stand in a line, well, so be it. Especially if it's something I want at the end of the line. And sometimes it's like, no, I'm going to stand in this line. So I thank you for expecting that this might be something good here on the Old Tube Radio Network. Thank you, Jim. All right, we try to make it good. Actually, you know what? It's made good by our operators, our tube radio operators in the SWLs. This is Citizen Band Radio the way it should be. The way it was. Just a great group here for 35 years on OTR, and I'm pretty sure that's one reason why we're still doing this. It just, like I said, it's worth waiting in line for. Let's go to SWL 226. And any stations I missed or anybody would like to come in before we do all sorts of stuff that we need to do to get the tube radios checked in? Refresh the page. And hello to Butterbean, who is listening. Audio radio from northeast Georgia. The mighty Juliet Whiskey John, who can't find... Okay, I'm going to have to read this conversation. When I get off the net, I have to go back and look at the conversation going up. I'll have to find out what a Frebuscus is. And the comment, go ahead.
Yeah, I did see the capsule fly over. It was just to the north of us, but I did get his copy. I could get a good vision of it. So, but it's definitely smaller than the space station it flies over.
All right, well, it should be about the intensity of Jupiter. They have a number for the intensity, like a point something. I think it's like a negative number, which means it's actually kind of bright. So, all right, it did happen. So that's good. The last one I saw was probably weeks and weeks ago, and it was one of those, 89-degree overhead. And it was just like, wow, look at that. I will wave. I guess they waved back. All right, thanks.
Must have been when Neil Wise was out there. I went out to the bluffs and was waiting for it, and I looked up, and here comes the space station flying directly overhead.
All right. Well, are we getting skip land? I don't know. All right, I've got to jump out of the chair, check stuff for the tube radios, and we'll get it started here at 9 o'clock.
You may not find us on your TV, because in case you did not know, we're being brought to you by
OTR.
Brought to you by
27.085 megahertz.
Brought to you by RADI.
The Old Tube Radio Network.
Hey, radio is a good thing, especially on Saturday nights. Your Old Tube Radio Network. Real Radio Glowing in the Dark. Thank you, Stan, X4000, and the group. Let's jump to the control. I will fix this camera, trying to adjust the video. There's all sorts of little things you have to click on, but I think I have it configured. Do I need some more brightness? Actually, we don't really care what I look like. Let's try that. There we go. But we will be talking with some of the tube radios, and that's mainly what we'll be focusing on tonight. I found a pen for the pocket protector. Tonight, I think we've done this one before. RCA, the most trusted name in electronics. So, will we get an RCA check-in radio? They did make, RCA did make 11-meter radios. Who checked them? I think Eric, SWL17, I think he had an RCA, the CRM528. It's a really funky looking radio. So anybody's got an RCA in their arsenal, pull it out tonight. That's who's our sponsor is. And of course, we're being sponsored by you, the tube radio operator. So let me stop talking, and we'll see you in the next hour if we can't get a bevy of radios checked in. OTR standing by.
37. 45.
All right, I hear 2. Hello, Paul. You will be radio number 2, so jump into the green room. We will catch you in a moment. And Chris, SWL37, is jumping up into the air chair. Just a reminder that you don't need any numbers. You don't have to ever have jumped in or talked on the Old Tube Radio Network to come by and check in a radio. We encourage anybody, anytime, if you found that old radio in the closet, Uncle Fred left it on the doorstep, plug it in. Saturday nights is when we want to talk to you and check it in and talk about it and give you information if we can. So that is why we are here. But of course, we enjoy our collectors who have some really great collections here, worldwide awesomeness collections. There are a lot of radio collections out there. I lament when I see all these pictures on Facebook of these great collections that we can't hear because we're just not in the skip zone. So I'm glad that our local operators can share with us, and via our video and audio that we do, that other stations that can't hear us over the air can listen in and say, hey, I've got one of those radios, and maybe do something like we are doing. All right, I'm going to log you in at 9:04. Hello, Chris, over.
Hey, hello, Dennis. Well, I'll tell you what, this radio I have, yeah, it's working. Hello, am I getting out?
You are getting out, over.
Just make sure. Anyway, the radio I have is not an RC radio, but it has the letter R and it has the letter C in it, so I'll go for that. Anyway, we got the Super MC11, the A, General Radio. That's right, General Radio, Super MC11A, 24-channel tube, it glows in the dark. And this here has the non-amplified stock microphone, over.
Audio like that from a stock radio. General Radio telephone, Super MC11A. If you're at oldtuberadio.net, there's a picture. If you're at the video, there is the same picture, but in glorious color. And I will try, as Chrissy reminds us, to see if we can get a tube count tonight. So I'll make a separate list for that. How am I going to do this? All right. I'm going to put TC, and I'll make a number here. So this one has your radio. If you look through the top, at some point you would count 9 tubes, one of which is a 12AX7A, which helps with the great audio, and the other one, which is an ECLL 800, which helps with the great signal punching out of that radio. Over to you for transmission.
Okay, well, it seems to be working anyway. Just tonight, don't tell me it's working as hard for some reason. I don't know why. But anyway, yeah, I am checking it in.
You are checking it in. It does, we need to have a confirmation that your channel selector, which is appropriately dialed into channel 11, the background on that, assuming the light still functions, is green.
Yes, it is. It is green.
All right, that's a good thing. There is there are fans of green radios or green knobs, or in this case, the green channel selector. So you have an extra point for having something green on the radio. Over.
Yeah, at least something's working right. It's supposed to be. Yeah, it says green. So I guess that's what. Yeah, it doesn't say. It just shows color green. What am I saying? Hello.
The radio is from General Radio Telephone out of Burbank, California. Made radios from basically when Class D started in late 1958-59 up to about 1972, I think, somewhere in there when they sold their operations out to Skyhawk Communications. This is one of their last, not the last, but one of their last radios. I think it's the last one that got type accepted. And, you know, just when they were doing it, they were always doing it well, but just when they were doing it right, they stopped. It's hard to get a stock radio to sound any better than what Chris does with the Super MC11A. It is our first radio of the evening, a good way to start. Thanks for bringing it by. Give us another transmission in all of its 9-tube glory.
Okay. Well, Des, I want to check one thing here. Tell me if this makes any difference. Did that make any difference right there? Hello?
Yes, it did. I'm gonna switch to the radio S meter. So I don't know if you can A/B that again. What it did was it gave it a little less audio gain, but it still sounds loud. Over.
Okay, I just checking out some stuff here to see if it did work on here. And apparently it does work, but yeah, I just turned something else on, but I don't like to run it that way, so we'll just do it back like it's supposed to be, about like this, okay?
That's amazing. The audio sounds better that way. I noticed there was a signal increase, but it affects the audio. It takes a little bit of the low frequencies out. And of course, to my ear, now I'm looking at the meter. If anybody's watching the video, they could see the meter go. But if you were just listening, you would say it sounds better and louder in the way you've got it now, which is a lot less signal. So that is how awesome that radio is. Because it is so good, it's hard to improve it. In fact, you can't improve it. You can only kind of mess it up. So where you're looking to make an improvement there is on the antenna system. That's one of those radios that deserves the best antenna you can put with it.
Okay. All right, well, Des, I'm going to get out here. I'm going to be getting another one there since again.
All right, great. Sounding good. Radio number 1, the General Radio Telephone Super MC11A. Here on the Old Tube Radio Network. Stepping up into the air chair for radio number 2 at 9:09 on the Pacific Daylight Time is Paul. Paul is up in North Fork, California, and that is up in the foothills about 30 miles to the north and east of me. Always puts in a good signal, and we are really lucky to, one, have Paul in our local area and to be able to hear him as well as we do, because he has one of the best, I'll just say this because it's true, one of the best collections, especially of general radio telephones, amongst other things, here on the West Coast. And it's really fantastic that we are close enough to actually hear him, and he can share them with us. And he's been doing it for pretty much since we've been on the air, since the mid-1980s. Hello, Paul. How about that for an introduction, Paul? Go ahead.
Yeah, I can't live up to that. It's not the best around, but I got quite a few radios. There's a better collections out there by all means. Anyway, I want to check out another general radio telephone. This is my BB-30.
I think I saw one of those come up on one of the Facebook sites. Someone had a picture and mentioning how rare it is. And indeed it is. Let me find a picture. The BB-30, the BB standing for business band. There it is. Let me go to the larger shot. The BB-30. Nice. It's got the master control look with the rack handles. Certainly a little bit more plain. It does have the S meter, but I guess if it was a business band, you're basically going to have it on a shelf somewhere, and probably with a desk mic, and it's going to be base to unit 1. Go pick up the widget. I'm also looking for some other things that are missing, like a channel selector. Tell me about how do you do channels on that thing? Over.
Okay, well, right in the front you see, well, everybody out there, they've got the press handle. But anyway, you can see there's a rocker switch on the left-hand side, and that's the one that controls your channel. You got channel 1 and channel 2 on this radio. The earlier ones just had the channel 1 on the thing. So this one has 2 of them in there. And as far as everything else on the thing, it's got an S meter, it's got a bullhorn on the thing, and then you go to your radio, you got your squelch, and that's it. It's set up for mobile. Back to you.
And there were, like the Civil Air Patrol frequency or frequencies, there were probably some designated early business band channels, or we'll call them frequencies, that you would buy the crystal for, or 1 or 2, and flop it in there. So I'm assuming what you've done is figured out a 27085 business frequency, if you will. Being a business band radio, it probably is a little more wide-banded, because to get down to 26 megs and maybe up to the higher 27 megs. And my guess is because it was a business band radio, it'd be type accepted for a little bit more than for the 5-watt DC input. But it's nice and clear. It's got a good signal, and so I think you've got things tuned in and turned on correctly over.
Yeah, I hope so. It isn't a stock mic on the thing. We never got a stock mic with it. So I went ahead and turned about turners on as an M+2U. I could crank it up, but I'm not going to. I don't like them that loud. I hope it sounded about normal. But I'm just running an amplified mic on the thing. Back to you.
Sounds good. The audio is really crisp and sharp. The signal, it's not a super strong signal, but the audio sounds really good. I was looking for the tube complement, and it does have an ECL at 800. So I'm wondering what this is. I've got some info here. I wonder what they based this radio on. 1965, so probably like an MC. I wonder if this is a super MC8 chassis. The General Radio Telephone BB30 was their 9-tube, 25-watt. I thought I just counted 10 tubes. Wait a minute. Count along with me, won't you? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It lists 10 tubes in the notes, but it says it's their 9-tube, 25-watt RF output business band radio. So I'm going to put 10 tubes because that's what it lists. This radio has 2 channels. The earlier BB30 only had 1 channel. It was designed for the business channel. Oh, there it is, 27420, which would still be above channel 40. That's at 405. The picture does not show the channel A and B on the rocker switch, although that's what Paul describes, and the one that's not listed radio in bullhorn is that. And it says it also has the famous ECL 800 tube, and they use a ceramic microphone built by Turner, but he's using a different microphone. It's okay. The power is 10-watt DC input. So I imagine that was a popular thing to get if you were only going to run 1 or 2 channels for your base channel to get that extra power, and I guess be semi-legal. 12-volt DC and 115-volt AC. Back to you, Paul, for a transmission. Over.
Like it is a mobile, and so I got the 2 channels on the thing. You got your mic, your off and on, and a bullhorn, which I guess is handy for your business, and that's it. Other than that, it's a nice looking radio. Same size as the MC11A. Exactly the same size as the thing. It's got the rack handles like that you say on the thing. And other than that, that's about it. Oh, I got a meter light up there that's glowing now. That's right below the S meter. So there's a little light that turns on when you plug it in. That's the whole story, I think. Thanks, guys.
All right, you answered my question without me even having to ask it. I was going to say, there's the light below the S meter that appears to be a pilot light. I thought maybe it would be modulation, but typically it's the amber light. Modulation is usually different color than that. So working well. Sounding good. It's our second radio of the evening. You've got it dialed up just right to don't change a thing. Very rare, and probably a lot of people ran those that didn't fess up that they were doing that back in the day when the FCC caught you doing things that weren't really, really by the book. They would not be happy. Radio number 2, the General Radio Telephone BB30, standing for a business band radio, which was designed at 10 watts DC input for the business channel 27420, but sounding good on 27085. Thanks, Paul.
37.
Thanks for checking it in, Dennis.
All right, we have 37. 37, come up into the air chair. You'll be radio number 3, but don't take a transmission just yet. Was there another station for OTR?
60, Dennis.
All right. We'll put 60 in as radio 4, so you can head over into the green room. There's all sorts of good stuff going on there. Take the elevator. It says take the elevator up, or is it down? Anyway, you'll find it, and then we'll call you when it is your time. The time now 9:16 Pacific Daylight Time as Chris steps up into the air chair. Hello, radio.
Hello, Dennis. Anyway, Dennis, I want to check in my Chris 23 CB transceiver. It's a 23 channels, yeah, but we're registered here with a handheld stock microphone. Over.
He doesn't have quite the punch of the general radio telephone, but it still sounds good. I'm pretty sure, if I know my alphabet, I have a shot of the Chris 23 Plus. I don't know if it's from your collection. It is from a collection. Put it up on the screen. Actually, I can even do bigger than that. Let's go to a full screen shot. There it is. I'm going to say we're going to strike out if we want green, because this looks blue. I'm going to say that's a blue stripe across that radio. Although I do see some green possibly on the S meter. Go ahead.
You're exactly right there. There is green on the S meter, and that's kind of a turquoise blue, I guess, or chartreuse or something like that. Blue, yeah, chartreuse. But yeah, this is blue. It's turquoise blue, I guess you'd call it there. But it's close to it anyway. That's this one. But like I say, it's stock microphone. Nothing great, nothing big, but it's working.
Worked good. Actually, that was a famous the Panasonic AM plate modulated chassis. So even though you're not driving it really hard with the stock microphone, you can get in and do some pretty decent audio. It sounds good. That's a good. The bones in that radio are good. So don't don't worry. It sounds great. 11 tubes for those counting tubes, and that is the standard, I think, tube count for that Panasonic radio. 6BQ5 on the output modulator. 12AT7, 12AX7. Always sounds good, and those radios were set up to go mobile as well with a 12-volt DC cord if you had one. Doing a good job for radio number 3. Make the modulation light and the meter move. Actually, that has the switchable meter, so depending on where you're at, I'm not sure. If you have it set up for S, like it's in the S meter position, what happens when you key the mic? Anything?
I changed microphones while you were talking. Does this work any? I don't even think it's working all right.
Lots of crackling, and the audio is about 20%. So it's keying the radio, but the audio is extremely weak over. And while you're switching microphones back, it almost sounds like it's an impedance mismatch for that radio.
Yeah, that was a D104 I tried on there.
Okay, there's probably some modification you have to do to the D104 in the bass or something to change the impedance, because that's what sounds like a impedance issue.
I just thought I'd check it out. I haven't tried that in a long time, but anyway, boy, my red light's really blinking good right now. Hello.
As it should, because you have decent, very good audio. The Chris 23 Plus from, when did they make those? 1972. Is that, yeah, that's the style. I think they made those up through 76 until they had to go to 40 channels. And there is an operator's manual for that if anybody is curious or wants to know, would like to check out more about it at oldtuberadio.com. So give us another transmission, and thanks for bringing it by.
You betcha, Dennis. I'm going to be jumping over to another one.
All right. Be careful. Be careful when you're jumping around there. We don't want you to break anything, but we're glad you are out and about tonight on the Old Tube Radio Network. Stepping up in the air chair right now is, are the Jingle Singers ready? No, they're not ready. So, Joe, come on up. Come on. Or they used to say, come on down. Over.
Thank you much, Dennis. Doggone it, I'm going to key up my Johnson Messenger the 23 here. Doggone it, there's not much on this radio to speak of. Couple of knobs. Kind of reminds me of an old Allied, my very first radio, in fact, the old Allied. Doggone it, that was many moons ago. But a very plain-looking radio, 10 tubes, nothing fancy except it's original. It has the original stock mic. And we've been doing some work on the element. I hope it sounds a little better.
Well, I remember last week you did something, you changed something that sounded good. It sounds a little different. It sounds different to me this week than it did last week. I would have to go to, and I can do that, I could have to go to the archives and put them side by side and play them. It's got plenty of audio. The radio I'm showing is a little different than the one Joe is running. It doesn't have the modulation light, but it does have that Johnson style desk mic that he is working with the elements in that. So take another transmission. I don't know if you did something different from last week. It sounds different to me, but it's still got plenty of audio.
Well, it might be missing. It might be missing a wire. I'm thinking it's a ground wire. Doggone it. We're still working on that. But other than that, like I say, it has nothing else to offer you. No RF gain, no mic gain, no nothing. A very simple looking radio, but a lot of fun to run. And God, this takes me back years that I did, never had a radio. I figure I'm going back 40 years or more.
Or, back when these were popular is when I had my Hallicrafters CB11A walkie-talkie. In high school, sitting in my bedroom thinking, and I would hear these radios. I would hear the E.F. Johnson, the 223s, and the General Radio telephones, and the Browning Eagles, and the Trams, and the Metrotechs. And they stopped by at Channel 11, and you think, someday, someday, I'll have a radio that runs more than 100 milliwatts. So I know what you're saying.
Yeah, Tim Moore. Well, doggone it, it's still a bunch of fun. We're still working on it, but nevertheless, like I say, it hasn't much to offer, but it is a solid-looking radio, and I hope it'll be with me for a lot more turn-ons. Yeah,
it should. We'll think of it. 1969 to 1972, when these were being produced by E.F. Johnson. It is now the 21st century. In fact, it's well into the 21st century, 2020, and it's still sounding great, still keying up good. So there is no reason that even if you want to drive around the block once a week, and that's why we're here at OTR, so that our operators can do that, get these things on the air, check them out, make sure the lights still work, or I guess in some cases find out what broke in the last 7 days, and if it still works. We are very happy to oblige. Radio number 4 is what you're listening to, the E.F. Johnson Messenger 223. This was the base station, really a base station. That did not have provisions to go mobile when E.F. Johnson took the Messenger 2 and added 23 channels and some other things and made it into a nice base package, hence the 223. And their last tube radio. At this time, Johnson was also producing solid-state mobile radios, but this was their flagship, and some would say it still is. Back to you for transmission. It's playing good. Thanks for bringing it by.
Thanks a lot. We're going to continue working with it. I know there's a lot of these radios, the mics are the issues. The radios themselves are working pretty good, but I know everyone is messing with the mics, and I love it. I love working on it, except these do give you a little bite, a little shock if you're not careful when you're wiring them up. But I appreciate it, Dennis, and we'll let the next one go.
37.
Hey, 37, we got you. Step up, and we will catch you in just a second. There's, what is it, B-plus voltage or something that goes through. I know the Browning has that. I mistakenly used the code key to as the switch, and it has all these open brass connectors, and I laid my finger across that, and it's like, wow. And I think the Regency Imperial's like that. I don't know, it's like 65 volts or 85 volts. So yeah, you'll get a little bit of a wake-up call. But you got to be careful, because that's voltage that's going other places too. So you really got to know, pin A and pin B and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 are the right way. I'm showing 10 tubes in that, so I will put down 10 in the tube count. And it looks good. Thanks for Radio 4. Radio 5 is up with the Jingle Singers or not ready? Okay, they say 9:30. So after this check-in, which is radio number 5, hello, Chris.
And hello, Dennis, once again. Hello, is it working?
This is your hello radio frequency. Go ahead.
Okay, I wasn't seeing nothing moving over here because I got everything in the wrong positions. There we go, now I can see stuff. All right, yeah, this is SWL37. We're checking in on our G PowerMate, the Gem Marine Products, 23-channel tuber, glows in the dark, and we are running this here with a handheld, believe me or not. But we are running this here with the amplified D104 Lollipop, and this is the Pretty Blue radio, over.
All right, blue, not green. Although there is, let me get your name in there, because this is the radio that we're hearing is the one we're actually seeing. Blue surround on the case. Now, we'll talk about the channel selector, and we'll talk about the light that's currently on now, which says RX, which looks green to me. But Radio 5 is doing good, and this is the same chassis. Should be very close to the Chris 23 Plus. It's got some different items on the front, but if you were to look down inside of both radios, my guess is they would look somewhat similar. This one's sounding good with the microphone you have selected, over.
Well, you know, it's got the same casing. The front of it is the same. It's just that everything's a little bit different on it. The speaker's in the same spot. The PA switch and the CB switch is in the right spot. Now, where the mic plug-in is on this radio, it's on the bottom right below the PA and CB.
Uh-oh. Hello, Chris, over. Probably still transmitting.
Number 7 while we're waiting.
Okay. Yeah, this is where it probably would pay to have the meter switch into the RF position.
Yeah, was I not working? Hello.
It sort of faded out. So I don't know if you had the meters. If you were to have the meter selected in the RF position, you would notice that the meter wasn't bouncing around. You sound good now, over.
And I didn't have it in that position, but I do now. No, what I was saying though, you know, the channel selection right there, where it lights up, the background, the lighting, the front shield on it is kind of a green, but there's a center hole in it, which shows the channel it's on, which would be in white lettering. But, you know, that there's primarily the same. It's got the knobs in the same spot down below, whatnot, and the meter switch for transmit and receive thing is right there underneath there. So it's primarily the same radio almost, I would say.
Yeah, and with those Panasonic chassis, they sort of changed the front panel. Some of the distributors got a little bit more, I don't know, eye candy and knobs and things, and some of them didn't. So I still don't know how they decided what to do with that. This one's got the fine-tune knob, which is handy. It's got the green RX light and 23 channels, PACB, and all that good stuff, no waiting. It is Radio 5, the Gem Marine Products G Power Mate. Checking that out. Do we have any information? Not anything more than we had on the Chris 23 Plus. 11 tubes and the Panasonic chassis. Give us another transmission. We have the Jingle Singers coming up after that, and then a radio from SWL7. So go ahead.
Okay. I was going to tell you where it says the fine tuning on that one there. Now on this one, on the other one, it says a band spread underneath it right there on top of it. So, it's primarily the same thing, but just different. All right, I'm going to get out of here, and I do have one more to go.
All right, we will be around to talk about that. The Jingle Singers at the bottom of the hour here, and then Ed, jump on into the air chair, and we'll pick you up after the Jingle Singers. Those Jingle Singers tell us about the friendly favorite place to be on a Saturday evening.
How do you do? Ladies and gentlemen, greetings to you. Wherever you are, The friendliest station for you by far is known to all as
OTR, the Old Tube Radio Network.
the station for you is
OTR.
Hopefully the station for you is OTR, the Old Tube Radio Network, something that we do here in Central Valley of California every Saturday evening beginning at 8 p.m. Pacific Time. Runs a couple of hours. We begin talking with our shortwave listeners, saying hello to them, enjoying the conversation there, and then we switch to the focus of the evening, which is the tube radio operators and their collections. We've been doing this for all of 35 years, and trying to recreate the sound of 1958 through 1978. Our operators do a good job with that, and also the demeanor of CB radio back in the day. And we hope to be doing this for another 35 years, I suppose, if the radios will hold up, and they probably will. I'm not sure if I'll be around, but I know the radios will be here. Hello, Ed, over.
And hello, OTR. Well, I think it was Chrissy Miller's green slippers that made me turn this radio on and warm it up first. A green radio, a Tram, TR27 Echo.
Okay, I will not hesitate to try and get a full bore picture of that. Let's see. That is, we'll skip the ad because it's monochrome. And I'll go to the extreme close-up. There we go. Actually, that radio is so big, we don't need to do it. We can just do the full screen. There we go. And we will see it in all its glory. This Tram from 1963, I believe. They're top of the line and the last of the TR27 series. We'll go back to you for a transmission.
Oh, thank you much. Yes, the big green radio, 5x7 speaker, big old S-meter up there. And, it actually matches the color of my 1964 Chevy pickup, which is also teal or green.
And I don't think you have that posted. If you had a picture of that posted somewhere, I could probably punch that up on the screen. But we will suffice that the radio will work for both items. I was going to ask you a question. What have we talked? We've talked about this radio before. Two-way. I like the way they put two-way radio. In the early days, you had to put that. It was like when they first started coming out with solid state. You'd have solid state across the big banner. Color television. You'd have color printed on there. And back in the day of there's a microphone. This is a two-way radio. Give us some more two-way communication.
There you go. Well, that is the very radio on which I am speaking, and Electro Voice 638 microphone attached. It's been a very nice radio. I actually made the purchase on eBay and got a good deal, so that's unusual, but I cannot complain.
Absolutely. And Dave, I agree with you. Dave is listening in, says he loves the big S-meter. It really is the kind of S-meter you have on like an old Hallicrafter's receiver or something. And that's, when you're staring in the dark room and someone's coming in, that is sort of the picture that you get of the station you're talking to, is that S-meter bouncing around, or, and for shortwave listening, it'll be, floating up to 20 over and down to S8 and back up, and you can kind of watch that like a ship sailing out to sea. So hopefully, is the meter illuminated, or I should say, is yours illuminated? It could be illuminated, but maybe the light isn't working, but I would be ashamed to not have some light on that.
Yes, it is illuminated. In fact, the light actually goes across in a bar, so the bottom where it says Tram Electronics, just above the Tram, that's where the light starts, and it just shows the upper top part of it. It looks really nice.
Indeed, because it is a nice radio. I'm looking to see if I can get a tube complement on this radio. I'm thinking 10. I don't see them listed even there's an ad. And it doesn't say. So if you know, let me know. I'm doing a tube count. I'm going to put it down as 10, but I could be wrong. Over.
Actually, it is 12. I know that offhand. In those little extra pieces they gave you in the advertisements, the little adjustments and stuff you could do, one of them said 13 tube operating power with only 12 tubes. So, the performance, there you go. So, yep, 12 tubes.
Well, 12 tubes. And that was from 1963. I can't imagine they'd have a rectifier tube in there, but they could. There's no sideband. The sideband radios usually come in with 13 tubes because they have to have the product detector. That might have some, it doesn't have any audio gain, doesn't have a preamp. That's interesting. All right, well, good. That helps our tube count out. And that's on the high side, so those counting tubes will be happy. Radio number 6, the Tram TR27E. Definitely three thumbs up from Chrissy Miller tonight.
37.
Well, thank you. Well, I heard a station out there, so we'll let that go, and I'll get some more radios in here.
All right, we will be here to check them in. The Old Tube Radio Network, Real Radio's Glowing in the Dark, and we have a few for you tonight, like this one coming up, which will be Radio 7 at 9:37. Hello, Chris, over.
And hello, Dennis, once again. All right, this time here, I'm doing Dennis, the Menace out there. This is the radio he really, really likes. Well, I'm going to check in my Courier Royale. This is a 23-channel tuber. It glows in the dark with all the knobs on it. You know, we got 6 tuning-type knobs, volume, squelch, whatever, sensitivity, tone, you know, whatever, blah, 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 and also the big dial for the channel select. That makes 7 in front. And, of course, you got 3 back there, tune and load, and then the mysterious mic gain hidden in the back on this radio here on the Courier 23 with, also we run this here with the amplified D104 Lollipop. Over.
Nice radio. This was, I can see why a lot of people like this. This was a bargain. Top of the line Courier, they had the 23, the 23 Plus, and the Royale, where they added some more features, I would say operational features, especially if you were, you know, like to turn knobs and tweak and peak things. This had that in there. Also some beefy items on the receiver with the Collins mechanical filter and some other things. So for the price point, this really was a good deal. When these came out, I think the Brownings were probably very close, and the Brownings and the high-end trams were up around $4.5, almost $500. I think these were still in the maybe high $200 to $300 range. So this would have been a good second choice if you couldn't quite swing that Browning, and a good choice because they were well built, as you are demonstrating with yours. Give us a transmission.
Oh, yeah, and, you know, and all the lights and bells and whistles actually work on this puppy, so that even makes it even better. So I'm not complaining. It makes me feel good having to be able to talk on it. For that modulation light, boy, when I talk on it, it blinks big and bright. And, of course, that well by the S meter, that kind of flickers all the time, even when I'm not talking. You know, has that red there. And then, of course, the channel 11 is illuminated in red. And then when I unkey, we get the amber light comes on. Over.
It's perfect for your CBing pleasure. If you told me I neglected to write it down, what microphone are you using on the Courier? Over?
I'm using the amplified D104 Lollipop. Over.
All right, so tuned up well. Let's see, the mic gain or mic control, if it has one. Was it Phil? Grandpa, I think, has one. There are some of those, I believe, that don't have the mic gain circuit, but I believe it's in on that radio. If it has it, it's in the back.
Yes, it is. It's in the back. Well, all you have to do is reach my hand right back here. Where's it at? Right there. Yeah, right. Where's it at? Right. Yeah, right there it is. I found it. Right down there in the bottom right. If you're looking from the front. If you're looking from the back, turn around and be the bottom left.
Okay. Well, you've got it correctly set. I want to say, checking out with us tonight is John, saying 73. Out there in Zero Land, staying up late. I think it's probably Sunday morning there. So we'll catch you next week, John. Yeah, if you've got the little lights blinking and Beaumont light blinking, I'm looking at those other knobs. The item is out of focus. The one thing about that radio, it has the channel selector. Normally, you're used to seeing like hidden behind a little window or a selector. This one is just a knob stuck out on the front. But I kind of like the way they do that. There's no guessing as to where you're going and where the numbers are.
Oh, yeah, it's right there in the front. So, yeah, but it's kind of strange how they put stuff, but this thing, you know, it's got sensitivity knobs, quieting knobs, tone knobs, squelch knobs, volume knobs, you name it, just about got it.
And you've got it, and we're glad you do. It's the from Courier Royale. I'm looking for a date on this. I don't have one. It is 11 tubes. We've added 11 tubes to the tube count. 12-volt DC it will do if you have the proper cord. CB14 is the SAMs. If you want more information about it, and I see that at oldtuberadio.com we do have a service manual, so if you need to get in there and do some work, but you definitely don't have to do on that one. It's Radio 7. Thanks for bringing it by tonight.
Oh, no, I was going to say, and the casing on this is solid aluminum. It could be polished out real easy.
A buff here and a buff there.
Yeah, give me some of that mother's wheel polish. That might work on it. I've never tried it. Maybe one of these days I might just get energetic and pull the chassis out of this thing and get up there and see if I can buff this puppy out, huh?
There you go. Then we'll have to update our picture.
Absolutely. I don't know, Don, do you have the picture of this one?
We have a picture. It's not the picture of that one.
It's not a buffed out one then, huh?
It doesn't look too bad. But it's probably not as good as you could do.
Oh, okay. All right, Dennis, thank you. I'll back out and see if Dennis is jumping up and down out there yet.
Well, somebody's out there. I think I heard the classic Eagle thing. This is your old Tube Radio Network. We're listening.
25, Dennis.
Yeah, beaconing from Madera Heights down Highway 41. Notice I said Highway 41. Remember the old Highway 41, the Christmas tree place and the... What was it? The trailer park down there and all that good stuff. The 45-minute drive. Anyway, you're sounding good. Hello, radio.
Yeah, Dennis, real quickly, I'd like to check in Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSB sidebander. We're talking on a non-powered banana mic. And it came with, I believe it came with the radio. And I believe that mic was made by Electro Voice. But anyway, two-piece radio, man, everything's working, and thanks for checking it out.
Well, thanks for bringing it by. You must have been playing the home game and looked at our list and noticed that there were no representative radios from Browning Laboratories tonight, but there is now with the introduction of radio number 8 from Jerry. There is a facsimile, right? A reasonable facsimile of the Browning Golden Eagle Mark III, their incorporation of all the parts and pieces that was the Mark II, with sideband neatly secreted it into the two cases, and a work of art for sure. Back to you.
Yeah, Dennis, it's a very cool radio, and I know you know this radio very well, but, man, it is... never missed a beat or skipped a beat, and still working. And I think what is it? In the 70s, I believe it was made. All tubes. I believe the next model was the Mark IV, and that was partly solid state. I believe. But this is all tubes on the receive and the transmit. Anyway, back to you, Dennis.
It is a beautiful radio. It does sound beautiful, and I have had the pleasure of driving that, sitting in front of it a few times. It's been a while, but I'm glad you bring it by the net here on Saturday evenings. Take time out from all the stuff. You know what? That's a popular radio. Even the Google bots are listening in there for a moment. A listening in thing. This old Tube Radio Network is kind of cool with that kind of sound to it. Thanks for bringing it by.
No problem. something, Dennis? Boy, you've been busy, and I've been hard to get in there, and didn't want to barge in there and step on anybody. Good to hear Chris and Ed and everybody else. So anyway, we'll be standing by. We have one more warming up, but we'll see if we can get in. Anyway, thanks, Dennis.
Okay, I'm doing a tube count. The price for that in 1972, and they made those through 1972 to 76, ranged in the mid-$600 to the mid-$700. Two-piece radio, so you have tubes in the receiver, tubes in the transmitter. I'm going to say there's probably more tubes in the receiver. I'm showing a total tube count, and if you know what it is, correct me on this, but I've got a total tube count on the Mark III of 21. If Harvey checks in, I may have to update that, but that's what I'm going to write down for the tube count. And speaking of tubes, the Jingle Singers will be telling us about what you can do with those tubes in the latest style.
You're listening in the latest style.
27.085 megahertz. Channel 11, Old Tube Radio.
In wonderful
Fresno, California.
I like that. Wonderful Fresno. Maybe they were never here. Whoever wrote that probably never came to Fresno. But it is wonderful, especially on Saturday evenings when it is time for the old tube radios. We're listening for radio number 9. Yeah, Dwayne, you are correct about that voltage. I don't know if you can see it here on the table. Let me get rid of the S meter. Right here, yeah, there it is. You can. I don't have a good way to light it because the lighting is dark here. Is right there is a J38 code key strapped to a board, and this has been this way for probably 84, so 30, almost 40 years. And that was my push-to-talk. I used to wire all my radios up to push-to-talk, and I went to the foot switch when I started doing the OTR stuff because I needed my hands to do writing. But I would run the Browning on that push-to-talk, and on the code key, are we still keyed up? Yeah. There are the two open terminals here. And, yeah, when you have that Browning running through, this open circuit, and you lay your thumb on the thing, and your finger brushes on one of the side, you will feel the power of the B plus coming through that Browning. It happened a couple of times. So I thought, that's really not a cool thing to do, because what if a screwdriver falls across it or something? But so I learned the hard way with that. With the solid state ham radio stuff, which is how I normally used it, it wasn't a problem. We are the Old Tube Radio Network. We're looking for radio number 9.
Number 7.
45.
And 45. Hello, Paul. Paul, you will take us up into double digits with your radio. You'll be radio 10 after this radio that we'll be listening for Mr. Ed, who will be radio number 9. So Ed stepping up into the air chair, and I know what kind of radio it is. I think I know what model it is, but I will wait for you to give us the particulars over.
20 after.
And 20, you are radio 11. Go ahead, Ed.
Well, thanks to Harvey, this R68T68 Browning Golden Eagle is back on the air, and it's also got the good old stock banana mic.
The original issue, the standard stuff, if you were pulling up an advertisement, that's what I'm going to do. I want to see if I can pull up an advertisement. I thought I had one for all right, here we go. For the R68 T68, it probably will show, yeah, there it is. Let me get rid of the, how do I do this? We do that. There we go. Looks something like that. I'll get a closer shot as we hear from it to give us a transmission.
Well, sure, another transmission. Yeah, I don't have the external speaker for this thing, but and the ones that I have seen out there, way too much money. So yeah, this one I like having all stock and being as it's the first of the Golden Eagle, I guess Mark none.
The radio that followed the Eagle in 1964, 65, 66. This was actually kind of a short run, 67 to 68, but they did make two different series of them. And then the Mark II. I should talk to Jimmy. Jimmy Railroader probably knows the exact upgrades from the R68, T68 to the Mark II. And of course, the Mark II had extra pieces and parts to do sideband and things. The Series 1 and Series 2 on this, Series 2 transmitter has lighted on the air light rather than the spotlight on the Series 1 that they had on the Series 1. And some receivers have variable RF gain. Others have a 3-position switch for RF gain. And the options of wood cabinet and the bass speaker. Original price, $395. Keep it under that $400 range, and people may buy it.
There you go. Well, yeah, I'm not sure what the tube count is on this one. I'll have to probably let Harvey refer to that one. Shoot, I just don't know. I could look it up but the old eyes are not working so well, so I'll just let Harvey answer that one.
All right, I will ask Harvey because I think he may have a similar radio, and we are trying to get a very accurate tube count tonight. So we'll keep doing with that. All right, sounds good. Let me go back to the S-meter, radio S-meter, or just the S-meter or something here. Don't add pictures to radio. It just gets too confusing. Sounding good. You are radio number 9 on the R68, T68. Thank you, Ed.
Oh, and thank you. Oh, yeah, this is Series 2, and it has the 3-position switch. So there you go.
High, medium, and low. RF gain is a good thing. That should have been something they added more into, But again, the Class D wasn't supposed to be a lot of knobs and dials. It was more bass to mobile and turn on the radio and set the squelch and leave the channel alone and no idle chit chat and we know all those rules that nobody ever cared about. So all right, I've got a tube count that I will add to that. Standing by patiently, the Jingle Singers are getting the night off tonight. Like I said, it's a busy night, so that's okay. There's all sorts of stuff going on in the green room. Stepping up into the air chair, Paul, Mr. Falcon out in North Fork. Can you hear me, Paul? Over.
Yeah, you bet. Yeah, I hope you can hear me. I'm talking on another radio telephone, Super MC11A. Back to you.
All right, General Radio Telephone Super MC11A. All right, this one, it's got great audio, and I'm glad it does because the signal is probably down about an S unit from where I normally hear you, but the audio is just pulling things through with no problem. So go ahead and take another transmission over.
Good, I'm happy to hear that. Yeah, I have a little falling up here, so it's kind of touch and go. If I lose you for some reason, if I'm working on this one here, I'm having trouble with turn on this one too. I thought it was good.
All right, he said we might lose him when we just did, but you could take a look at the S-meter and just see the power in that audio at just above my noise level, but how it was cutting through 100%. So let me take a pause here. And Paul, are you hearing me? Is the transmitter working? Over.
Yeah, hold my hand on the thing, hold it on there. I can see the meter working. I hope I don't get shocked on this one. But anyway, yeah, this is I forget where I was going here when this come on. I got another microphone here. To plug it in, but I can't one hand holding the square up at an angle so it'll continue to operate. And I can't do it, so I want to change the mic. I put on a CM3, turn a microphone, the same as my 350C stock mic, and check it out. I might still try to do it. I don't know. I'll try. If you would like to go for that, I should like to know if it makes a difference. Because that only came from Turner, and then it got it added in the MC11A.
Okay, yeah, if you want to try it, see if it will work. I put on the Orban meter just to see where the loudness monitor peaked out at about minus 18.5. There is a little movement on the S meter. Like I said, you are just above the noise level, but the audio has some great, as Bob Heil would say, it's got that articulation and some great fidelity. So we'll see if changing the microphones, if you can do that, changes how we hear you. It shouldn't change the signal. And my light is failing. So go ahead, Paul, we are listening. Over. Said he had to do some fancy twisting and things to get that microphone to work, so hopefully it will. Okay, very interesting. When I go to the loudness meter, it actually shows that this audio or this microphone has more audio gain. A little bit more, not much, but a little bit more. But when I listen to it through the headphoniums, the fidelity, there's more low frequencies that might sound good if your signal was much stronger. But for a weaker signal, I think the other fidelity punches through a little bit better. And of course, that's through my radio, through the headphones. It is actually, the second microphone probably actually has a little bit more gain, but the articulation, the frequency response is probably better for weaker signal work on the prior microphone. Over.
I'm going to listen to the archives, and then we'll go from there. Hey, thanks a million for checking it in.
Okay, and you are, like I said, your signal is down a good S unit from where it normally is, so there's a little bit more noise on the signal. But if you listen, and you may hear the difference in that the first microphone with the weak signal actually punches through a little bit better. But my guess is if you were 10 over or 20 over, for a nice rag chew quality, the other microphone, the second microphone, might actually be better, a little bit mellower. But for punching through the DX, the first microphone, and that's sort of some of the theory behind radios that add preamp or processors where they boost a little bit of high frequency in the processor mode. And I think not to keep touting on Bob Heil, but he used to make a dual element microphone. And the second element was like that. You would switch to it, and you would get a little bit of high-frequency punch. So that's sort of what you're doing with the two microphones. Radio number 10, the General Radio Telephone Super MC11A with 9 tubes on the tube count from Paul up in North Fork, checking out the microphones. And we are certainly glad to do that. That's one of the reasons the O2 Radio Network is here, for you to bring a radio by and check out antennas or microphones, or what does this knob do? And we will help you out with that. It's kind of fun. So coming up next, Radio 11, the Jingle Singers. You know what? It's the top of the hour. The Jingle Singers want to jump in here and do something, and I will oblige them. Because if I don't, I have to live with them over here. So, Harvey, thanks for being patient. I hope it's not too hot in the radio room, and we'll be back to you in about 20 seconds. You are listening to the Old Tube Radio Network.
Let's do some spelling.
OTR. 27.085 megahertz. Channel 11, Old Tube Radio. Old Tube Radio.
Okay, now it's time for that guy out in the west side. Hello, Harvey.
Yep, I'm here. Check in my Browning Golden Eagle R68T68 from Browning Lavatories with the custom D104 with the Browning medallion on the back. There is some picture somewhere of that, somewhere in the archives, I do believe, I think. Anyway, that'll do it for me tonight. You may have to proxy me in next week. I don't know if I'll be back in time. I made it 3 weeks ago, or 4 weeks ago, whatever it was, from work, but don't know. It's kind of You never know. So anyway, this is Bad Radio, one of my favorites, and I'll turn it back to you.
Okay, thanks for turning it back to me. I'm going to ask you to try and remember some things to help us out with it. We're doing a tube count here tonight. And you might remember the radio that you are on, the transmitter-receiver combination, and we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, and I don't remember, assuming the receiver has more tubes than the transmitter, but the total tube count between the transmitter and receiver, are we up, I want to say, around 18 or 16 for the R68, T68 over?
Well, I can trust my memory, or I can count the tubes. I'll be back in about 20 seconds or so.
Okay, and then the second question will be, how does that compare with the Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSB? Because I've got 21 for that, but I'm not sure if that's exactly correct. So while you're doing that, the Jingle Singers are still at the microphonium, and it is about that time. So let's hear from them one more time here on the Old Tube Radio Network.
You're tuned to
OTR, Channel 11,
right here in
Fresno, California.
Stay with us.
Old Tube Radio.
And be modern.
Wow, and my lighting, I don't know what they're doing over in the green room, but all of a sudden my lighting is working way more. It's like the sun has come out, and I'm blinded by the light here. So back to you, Harvey.
11 tubes in the receiver, 5 in the transmitter. With the Golden Eagle, the Mark III has, I believe, 10 in the receiver. It's missing the OB2 tube, so we'll go 10. And then in the transmitter, I'm going to guess at this, but I think it has 1, 2, 3, 4. It might just have 5, 6, 7 or 8 tubes in the Mark III transmitter.
All right, so we could have possibly 18. I put 21, but that sounded high to me. 16 was okay, so I'm going to take that down to 18 on the Mark III. And as always, your R68, T68 is working well and sounding good. And you mentioned about the D104. I know like you said, I know I have a picture over here somewhere, but I think it's connected with the radio, so I'll have to make a note when I find. You know what? Actually, D104M6, D104 is a D104M6. What is that? No, that's the mobile microphone. I don't have that. All right. Anyway, thank you for your diligence on figuring out our tube count here.
Okay. I just grabbed the schematic here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Appears to be 10 in the transmitter. Let me make sure. Let's see. That's B, A, B. Okay. Around 10, something like that in the transmitter, I believe. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9 tubes. 9 in the transmitter.
9 in the transmitter. So which radio is this that you're counting?
Say that again?
Which radio was this for?
I believe the Mark III. I'm looking at a schematic, kind of a dinged-up schematic of the transmitter. And you know how it's got like V1A and V1B, and they split the two. So
yeah, I hate when they do that.
Kind of look at it a little differently here. Yeah, the receiver has, I think, one less than the Golden Eagle because it doesn't have the voltage regulator too.
Comment?
Yeah, go ahead with the comment. I'm not sure if he cut out or what, but I can hear you.
Okay.
Oops.
Yeah, according to the SAM's photo fax, there are 12 tubes in the receiver and 9 tubes in the transmitter for the Golden Eagle Mark III.
I did remember correctly. All right, we're going back to 21. That's like checking in 2 radios with the amount of tubes. All right, and Harvey, how is your radio working okay? It kind of cut out there.
I probably released the mic a little bit, got a little light on the key there. It should be working just fine now.
All right. And Harvey, the people listening, the SWLs here on the video, Dwayne, SWL30 says, we're going to put in for some overtime pay for you tonight. That was a ping of approval. Radio 11, the Browning Golden Eagle R68 T68 with 16 tubes and other items of interest. All right, at 8 minutes after the hour of 10 o'clock, I will say, are there any other stations that would like to check in so we can return, what do we used to say, returning the frequency to normal. I want to make sure everybody's out there warming up our radios that had a chance to check in.
And number 7.
Did I go away again, Dennis?
Kind of, over.
And I was stretching the mic cord out. I probably shouldn't do that. Okay, I ain't going back. Okay, you got other people there, so I'm going to shut her down for tonight, and maybe I'll be back next week. We'll see. Okay, catch you later. 60.
Okay, well, we've got a line. We'll get everybody. We'll get everybody. 60. Joe, you're going to be radio 14. Ed, you will be radio 13. Lucky 13. You know, I'm sorry that my light got fixed because it is so bright. It's blinding. I can't see what I'm doing here. And radio 12, our next radio jumping into the air chair will be the Q-Bird, and I think that may be coming from 25. Is that correct?
That is correct. It is 25 checking in on a general radio telephone MC5 from beautiful downtown Burbank, California. Over.
Beautiful downtown Burbank was never a greater place as when they were producing the radios that had the tone calls. This one, the general radio telephone MC5, will grab a picture of it and actually look at that particular item of interest. Is Mitch out there tonight? I don't see Mitch. I actually have an email from him that I just noticed. He is a fan of the Q-Bird. We do have Q-Bird fans, so if you're watching the video, don't go away. Let's zoom in on, there it is, the tone signal. That's the switch underneath the S meter. Controversial in that the FCC really didn't like, I guess, I'll call them noisemakers, but that's not their official name, built into the radio. If you had an external device like a call select thing and it was an accessory that's strapped to the radio that plugged in, you could get away with that. Sonar had one, I think E.F. Johnson had one. And if you had something in the microphone, and I don't think they liked that either, it was still okay. But when you built it into the radio in 1963 and 1964, I think the FCC said, you know, it's just too easy to cause malicious interference. If you were not doing it correctly. But we don't do that here on the Old Tube Radio Network. So for the fans of the Q-Bird on the General Radio Telephone MC5, we'll go over to you, Jerry, and maybe you can oblige.
Yeah, okay. I will. Real quickly, though, right below the phone signal alert is a Sacred X crystal, external crystal that you can plug in and talk to your on a sacred frequency. But anyway, okay, here we go, Dennis. I'm gonna keep talking, and now
And it goes through the audio circuit, but yeah, you can talk over or through the tone signal. It reminds me of, was it 2 weeks ago or last week when I was trying to get, and they still don't have it. The Jingle Singers still have not completely produced If I Had a Q-Bird, the song that Mitch came up with. And of course, when I went over there, in sound effects, they turned on the Q-Bird noise, and then they didn't turn it off. So I think a lot of people thought that I was being jammed. That was just our sound effects department. But you do a much better job, I think, live and direct. 7 tubes. This is the radio so far that has the fewest tubes. We just checked in the radio that had the most tubes. This one has the fewest tubes, and it still does well with only 7 tubes. So I don't know if you have to, like, hold a couple of them in your hand to get, I don't know. It's working well. Back to you.
All righty, Dennis. Thanks for checking it in. I think we have some other stations, so I'll make this short. But Terry Kachiber says hello. Anyway, back to you, Dennis.
All right. I miss the gang over there. I miss Terry. It was so great when they were working on remodeling the building, and she was always up in the front office. And she got moved back into the dark recesses of where we were back in, telecine and engineering. And I think she had a really fun time. I think she was just afraid to go back into the light of the front office and the beautiful people. We enjoyed having Terry out with us. So let's see, Radio 11, the Browning Golden Eagle, Radio 12 at 10. 12. I'm slowing things down here. The General Radio Telephone MC5 with 7 tubes, all 6-volt tubes, by the way, because that radio did run off of could run off a 6-volt DC. All right, stepping up into the air chair, Lucky 13, which would be Ed. You are next, and then Joe, don't go away. You'll be Radio 14. So hello, Mr. Ed, over.
And hello, Dennis, and the rest of the OTR SWLs. Bringing the Golden Eagle Mark III SSB.
All right, another Golden Eagle at before 10 o'clock. Moments before 10 o'clock, we didn't have Nary 1, and now as what did they say? The Eagle has landed. So somebody got the word out that the Eagles were a little bit behind in the count, but no longer. And that also is a big one for our tube count, pretty much like checking in 2 radios at once with the 21 tube count. We'll put up a picture, if I click the right button here, there we go, of the Mark III, and give us another transmission.
And, of course, I have the static Golden Eagle microphone attached, so power D104. This one does have a resistor in it, though, to bring it down so the needle in the for the transmit doesn't slam against the side so bad.
Oh, sir, there is a mod for that. I noticed that was... I hate to even put the mod switch on, because it's you see the poor little needle in there, and you think, this cannot be good. I mean, no one has to tell me that I have that much modulation. I know it's working, so I'm glad to see there's a fix for that to make it a little bit more sensible. Radio 13, the Browning Golden Eagle Mark III. Let me put on the radio and the S meter, so if you watch back, you can give yourself a radio check. Say goodbye.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I put the banana mic on this thing, and man, that needle just slams against the side. So, yeah, this one's definitely been toned down for the radio. Anyway, with that, we'll let you get to whoever else is out there.
All right, sounds good. I want to say hello way up there. I missed you way up there in the balcony tonight. He had to shine his flashlight down into the control room. Charles up there in Anoka, Minnesota, is listening, watching in. I think it's quite up there. You can bring your pillow and a blanket and can kind of hang out. And no one will bother you, but you can listen and watch the tubes go by. Radio 14, we're doing good. We have 14 radios here tonight. Our 14th radio stepping up into the air chair now. And I wonder what Mr. Hustler has for us. Hello, Joe.
Well, Dennis, I have my Robin 23. The pretty green radio that glows in the dark. This Robin here, doggone it, we've been doing a little work to the mic. We hope that the one we're going to put on right now, other than this one, will either sound better or sound worse. Now this radio doesn't have channel 29, but it does have 10 extra channels. Runs all the way up to 35. I think it stops at 9, but it gives me extra channels, 35 channels total. But let me switch mics on this here and see how she goes.
Okay, don't switch it yet. I want to switch over to the Orban meter. And Mitch is there. Hello, Mitch. I checked. They have not. I thought they were going to produce that Q-Bird song. I had to embarrass myself last week trying to get it done again. I didn't even venture to go over to the green room. All right. I've got to bring up the video for. All right. First, I got to turn on this camera. Then I turn on that camera. All right. Before you switch microphones, take another transmission so I can get a reading. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, we've been working on it. Doggone it. We hope that this other mic will have a little better sound to it, because this one is a little small. I hope that this mic here will have just a little better tone to it.
Okay, I've got it marked for at least the loudness, and we've seen before. Sometimes the loudness is not necessarily the best thing if your fidelity suffers. So he's plugging in the different microphone. The microphone, let me go back to the other one. The microphone he's using, I believe, on that transmission was the one in this photo, which is the adequate, but a little bit light on the surface area of the transducer, but that came with the radio. So back to you.
Okay, Dennis, we're on a different microphone now. This one here is a aesthetic, a 636L aesthetic mic. Doggone it, we're not doing the best. We're not the best mic wire there is, but we've made a little change here. How does this one sound?
You know, fidelity. I think the fidelity is better. I went to the loudness meter. This definitely doesn't have the gain. Doesn't have the punch of the other one. I don't know if that's particularly because it's not accentuating a lot of the high frequencies. So this microphone here, I think, to my ears on the headphoniums, sounds better. If there was a way to articulate it, I know you have to move closer, but you have to be careful with that. That microphone almost needs a compressor or limiter. So I think that one to my ear, that one sounds better. It's not as loud, and we've proven that with the Orban meter, but I think it sounds more like you.
Okay. Well, it's the range expand is on high. I don't think it would probably make a difference if I did put it in or did turn it off rather. But yeah, we could run this one for a while. It doesn't make any difference to the brightness of the meter or the modulation light. I can see that, but it does have a little swing. Maybe a little more than the other one. But we could run this one and give the other one a break for a couple of sessions.
That's a good idea. I would do that. And this one, you have some range. If you get closer, it does get louder. It does have the, as you said, as you noticed with the meter, pushes the meter up, and so it is dinging a few more frequencies, a few more low frequencies. I think this one sounds good. I guess if you wanted to be if you wanted to do DX, you could use the other one. It might punch through if your signal was low. But if you're In a typical QSO conversation, this one certainly sounds mellower and nicer to the ears. Let's see, I got to put you in for the tube count. The Robin T123B is the Panasonic chassis, and it is 11 tubes, adding to our total tonight. Sounding good. And Mitch, I hope you have spared the Q-Bird. I've done my best, but hopefully the fact that we actually got a MC5 tonight will suffice. Also, I want to say hello to Brian, the mighty KUH, who is up very late tonight as we go along tonight, checking in radios on the Old Tube Radio Network. Hello to you. We are currently in conversation with Joe on his Robin T123B, doing another microphonium check, and I think we have figured out the one to use for a while. So put the post-it on that one, and we'll look for it in the next episode.
Okay, Dennis, sure appreciate it. Okay, thank you for. Hey, let me check this one in. I know it's late already. Yeah, there might be somebody else out there that wants to try one. Hey, okay, catch you on the next one. Dennis, one more thing on this. Well, no, it's not important. Everything works on it. But you sound actually extra nice there when I pulled the tone switch. Okay, Dennis, thank you much.
Yeah, it's nice having a tone switch. I probably have some tones that if you have a larger speaker might come through with all the audio stuff I'm doing here. Mitch, I'm going to remember that. The Chris, maybe when Chris checks in his 23 plus, we'll have him wrap it up in some nice foil for the Chris Kringle version. The Old Tube Radio Network, Real Radio's Glowing in the Dark, counting and amounting, and maybe checking in your radio here as we get close to signing out for the evening on this version of OTR for the first day of August 2020. Listening, if you've got a radio, check it in, because we are going to be signing out soon. Over.
OTR. Channel 11.
Right here in
Fresno, California.
Stay with us.
Old Tube Radio.
And be modern.
You know, I think they did that already. That they're trying to tell me something, I think.
I thought you were going to say something, Dennis.
I am. I was looking over through the rack here to see if the Jingle Singers were done, and then apparently they are. And so the orchestra is ready, at the ready. Mr. Announcer's at the microphone.
All right, I'm listening.
Because when they do that, they often do this.
Ladies and gentlemen, time now for the current OTR totals.
The current and final OTR totals. Managed to get through this without getting wrapped up in my headphone cord tonight. Say hello to all the people who are still listening in late from far off lands. Charlie, you make me laugh, Charlie. You're losing a telescope. You have opera glasses. You probably have those opera glasses watching the radios. Those I don't call them the cheap seats because nobody gets charged to get in. They're all the cheap seats. I've been there. You have to when you go to the concert or something, you're way up high. You think, well, at least I can still hear it, right? Maybe I can't see it. I don't know. Why did I pay all that money? That's why we don't charge, because nobody would come in. Radios tonight, we had 12 on page 1. No, that's SWLs. 12 on page 1, 15 on page 2, 16 on page 3, and 20 on page 4. That's a total of 63, if I count correctly. That may be one when we do the year-end totals. This is going to be one to beat, I think. 63 SWLs checking in tonight. Not even a full moon. And 14 radios. Who was the most heard manufacturer? It was a good race tonight. Lots of manufacturers, and I'll have to say that the general radio telephones put up a good fight. It's starting off strong. And then, if it wasn't for that last Browning that checked in, Lucky Radio 13 putting the Brownings in the lead at 5 on the manufacturer tonight. 5 Brownings, 4 general radio telephones, and a host of others that are this. Chris started with his general radio telephone Super MC11A. That was way back at 9:04 minutes after 9 o'clock. Then Paul came in with the general radio telephone BB30. What a cool-looking radio, all 10 watts. Oh, and the tube count. I'm going to have to... I didn't add the tube count. I'll do that. Okay, well, we'll do a running total. All right, we're now at 19. We'll do it that way. We're now at 19 tubes. Then Chris came in with his Chris 23 Plus and added 11 tubes to give us 30. Joe came in on the E.F. Johnson Messenger 223 for Radio 4 with 10 more tubes, giving us 40. Radio number 5 was Chris on the Gem Marine Products G PowerMate, and that gave us 11 more, so we're at 51. The Tram TR27E, the big green machine, radio number 6 from Mr. Ed, gave us 12 more tubes, bringing us to 63. At 9:45, radio number 8, let's go to 9:37. Radio number 7 was the Courier Royale at 11 tubes. That takes us to 74. And then we had, oh boy, I thought that I could do this correctly. All right, so the Courier Royale is at 7. Radio number 8, Jerry was on the Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSB, adding a big 21 to the total, taking us to 95 tubes. Radio number 9 was Mr. Ed on the Browning Golden Eagle R68 T68, adding 16 tubes, taking us now to 111. And that is at Radio 9. Because let me pause. Timtron from the Pacific Northwest has tuned in very late. I don't know. Are you working the evening shift again? Are you doing the late night? And says, I love the Boogaloo shirt. I never thought of it. Let me get rid of the S-meter garbage here. I never thought of it like that. This is just a really old shirt, and I wanted to put on something that sort of reminded us of the old Tube Radio Network picnics that happened 30 years ago. And this one was just sticking out in the closet like a Boogaloo shirt would. I don't even know. I don't think I bought this. I think someone gave this to me, meaning that they probably hated it or they just wanted to make me look really silly. And I took the bait, so I like that, the Boogaloo shirt. Back off Boogaloo for sure. All right, where were we? We're at Radio 9 and 111 tubes. Radio number 10, Paul on the General Radio Telephone Super MC11A, adding another 9 tubes for 120. Radio 11, the Harvey with his Browning Golden Eagle R68 T68. See, these Brownings really add a lot of tubes to the mix. So now we're 136 tubes. Radio 12, the General Radio Telephone MC5, the Q-Bird, thank you for that. The radio that had the least tubes makes the most noise. How is that? 7 more tubes. So that puts us at 137. No, I'm sorry. We were at 136. So that puts us at I can't even read my writing. At 143. Then we got the jackpot once again. Radio 13, the Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSB with 21 tubes, taking us to 164. And the balloons are going to come down. I think we have a thing set up here that when we get to our millionth tube, the balloons are going to come crashing down out of the ceiling here. And then we had the Radio 14. This is really an old Buzzard transmission. The Robin T123 beat 11 tubes, taking us to 175. Let me mark that down. 175 tubes. Well, that is just a lot of tubes. Oh, man. All right. Tim is working the double shift. He's pulling a double. Well, thanks for... First of all, thanks for staying awake. And thanks for what you do. And then I'm sure you're trying to keep us all safe. You're probably filling in for a lot of other people that can't do what need to be do. So be safe out there, and thanks for taking a couple minutes to jump in on the Old Tube Radio Network tonight. 175 tubes, 14 radios, 63 SWLs, and an Old Tube Radio Network. All right, I think that's it for me, and I'm going to unkey. John Foster saying, gentlemen, 14 minutes ago on the East Coast, and now 1:10 a.m. I don't know. How do we go so late tonight?
I don't know, Dennis, it was a great net, and I do thank you very much as always.
And we're stacking the decks with tubes.
Great job, Dennis. Thank you, OTR, and of course, Bozo Control.
Yeah, good old Bozo Control. And Mitch, I agree. When we first started talking about the hybrid radios, the powers that be got together and said, well, bring them by, but we're not going to count them. We're not going to put them on the list as an out-and-out tube radio. And this was 30 years ago. And so when actually the 1011s, I think the 1011s actually qualified because there were the receiver was a lot of tubes too. It's the Mark IV and the DAX and the FT101 series, which was the receiver was all solid state. So you only had the 3 tubes in the PA compartment, like the 102 and things like that. What's the other one you put down? The Utopia Mark IV, yeah. But we check those in now just because we are so glad that people are still around checking in the radios. And when they age another 35 years, what the heck? So maybe not true to the form of long ago, but if they stop by, we won't hesitate to put them on the list and add up the tube totals. All right, good night, everybody. Let's see, what kind of cool picture? Yeah, let's put up the meters. I don't know. When I originally came up there, I had a little bit more modulation tonight, so I hope I wasn't wimpy. As WA1HLR would say, I hope I wasn't piss weak and yellow tonight on the RF part. Good night to our listeners at the YouTube side and also at radio.net. And we've checked in Mark IVs. That's Harvey over on the crossband. So good night, everybody, from the Old Tube Radio Network.
Good night.
Hey, we love tube radios over here.
Yeah, but the Mark IV receiver still had all the tubes, and the Mark IV transmitter had still all the same tubes, I believe. Almost all the same number of tubes as the Mark III. Maybe 1 or 2 fewer, but present more trace.
Yeah, I think there were just a few in the group that kind of thought, well, you know, it really isn't true to form for the Mark III, and it is a hybrid radio, but yeah, it was, you know, 70% or 60%. I actually think we had a percentage. It's like you had to have a certain percentage of tubes, and it didn't fall right in that level. Hey, what the heck? It's classic. KB6G update.
Hey guys, W6OTR.
Okay, let's see, the video's still up, the audio's still up, and it is noisy. Lots of static. Before I go, let's get out the antenna tuner here, and quickly, let's see if anybody's on. Let's see what's on. Let's put a 40 meters on the... This is on the Starduster antenna, 40 meters.
There's a heavy Macron amplifier with the 4 811As in it, and I have it running at about 400 or so watts.
All right, there's 7210. A good signal tonight on 40 meters.
At 50 feet on a 73-foot boom, and it's firing west.
A 73-foot boom.
That seems to help here on 40.
No wonder.
Let's see. Yeah, back to you. KM6RI from K6VF.
Yeah, nothing that a 73-foot boom and a kilowatt wouldn't work on 40 meters. No wonder I'm hearing you say good. All right, who else? Boy, way weak on 7142. I remember when that was the novice band. Kind of weak. All right, I know there's nothing on 20. Let's go quickly to... that's noisy. All right. Let's see what's happening on 75. Any AM guys? Oh, there we go. There's a carrier. Not very strong. Nothing on the East Coast. Yeah, the Starduster just fails. The Starduster fails on 75. Works okay for 40. Yeah, signals aren't too great. Okay, there's a strong one.
Yeah, you got a good signal here. It's sounding good. A lot of static crashes here tonight for some reason.
Nice audio. I wish I had the antenna on. All right, let's go down. See if Stan and the guys are on.
Pues no sé si será muy bueno conseguir otro en la computadora, Ramón. Están como por 300...
3773, not a bad signal there.
Aquí en la computadora, pero no sé si será buena onda, tú sabes, será bueno comprar ahí en la computadora, Ramón. We acquire that, I would imagine. Not that I know what it's all about.
3840. They're behaving on 3840
Came a
tonight.
long way, man. That's great.
There's only one station talking at a time. How did that happen?
Fucking, get
Oh,
it going.
well, maybe not.
Link tune.
3853.
Neutralizing cam. The one on the right side neutralizes the left loop. You know what I mean? On push-pull. So it's a really cool
All right. I think that's where Tim hangs out. All right. Cycle 25 is alive. Study for your license and get on the air. 73. Mitch, I found it was buried. I got your email, and I will respond to that. It was like mixed in with a bunch of stuff, but I saw it when I was looking through stuff. So, all right. Good night, everybody, from the Old Tube Radio Network.